the greatest villain in pro wrestling industry, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. In every story, we need a hero that will defeat a villain, and Vince McMahon is the greatest villain in pro wrestling industry. Why? Here's my opinion on why Vince McMahon is the greatest villain in pro wrestling industry. Some people have difficulties in their office in which WWE has used on most of their storylines, such as Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, where you wanted to be Stone Cold, you wanted to make your boss suffer for everything that he made you to do, your day offs, your every benefits that were stripped away because of your boss. The WWE made you feel this entertainment, made you feel that this is fun, that they can relate in your real life status, that you want to destroy your boss for making you suffer each day, suffer in the fact that you're doing all the work and he's taking all the credit. That's the WWE specializes on in this character. So why is he the greatest villain in pro wrestling industry? Vince McMahon is the greatest heel of all time. So what is a heel? A heel is the villain of the story where you wanted him to be out of the television screen that you're watching. You wanted him to suffer all the time. You wanted him to be defeated by those heroes that you love. The heroes which are called the baby faces, such as Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, Edge, and many more to mention. Vince McMahon has allied himself with different heels, such as The Rock before in his corporation stage, Triple H when he had that McMahon Hemsley faction and the Authority, and many more, just to have those heels benefit because they are allied with the owner of the company of the WWF, now WWE. Vince McMahon also does a lot of things for people to jeer or to boo him by taking a shot at celebrities, at sports teams, and everything that he can make them boo out of him, that they will hate him in every time that he appears. That's Vince McMahon for you. He even does the most embarrassing stuff just to get those ratings on television. Embarrassing stuff such as those poops that were put into them in 2006 and their rivalry with DX, when those what you know what I mean, they were put on them, and then the Generation X were laughing on the background with them suffering, and those green spray paint on his helicopter, on his private jet, on the WWE headquarters, which the Generation X made fun of, and everyone makes fun of this old man heel, which everyone made him suffer, such as Stone Cold Steve Austin by having his Corvette, which Vince McMahon owns, the Corvette that Vince McMahon owns. Stone Cold put cement on it, and Stone Cold attacked him on the hospital, which was also a memorable moment. With Vince McMahon also allied with himself with a lot of heels, but sometimes he is also a babyface, which was shown in television with some of his rivalries, but most of his career he is known as a heel. A heel in which he screws your favorite superstar, in which he does everything in his favor to destroy them on television, not by his own hands, but by a lot of groups that he will get the scraps and then humiliate them on the national television, just like when they made Jim Ross kiss his part on live TV. Just search for The Undertaker's heel turn on YouTube or in WWE Network to know what I mean. A lot of members of that certain group was also done that deed, such as William Regal, which Vince McMahon is technically a babyface at that time, and such as when Vince McMahon was heel, Shawn Michaels, Jim Ross, Shane McMahon, and many more. Vince McMahon has also made a lot of embarrassing stuff on television, such as kissing, what part of Rikishi, being involved in the storyline where he is embarrassed by the superstar that he is facing, with those dancing, and even the Generation X playing with the chicken. You know what the other part of chicken? The other term for the chicken, which is a C word also, in which the Generation X made him embarrassed in national television. So, when was this character formed? In what we can say, the character was fully established during the Montreal Screwjob when Vince McMahon told the referee to ring the bell, ring the bell. In that time, when the referee Earl Hebner screwed Bret Hart, Vince McMahon is the greatest villain of that time. Vince McMahon even created his own interview, a promo, telling Bret screwed Bret. In that moment, Vince McMahon was hated by the people watching at home, where former he was known as a commentator, now he is known as the owner of the WWF, now the WWE. In that time, a rising superstar was also being loved by the fans, in which Vince McMahon and storyline in kayfabe hates, and that is the beer drinking Stone Cold Steve Austin. In that time, Austin's popularity is rising up, and when he became the champion, this rivalry started. The greatest rivalry in the WWE. Stone Cold versus Vincent Kennedy McMahon, in which Stone Cold made a lot of things to embarrass McMahon, to made all of his plans fail in order to make the fans happy and tuning every week just for Stone Cold to beat Vincent Kennedy McMahon's behind. In that time, Vince McMahon also gained ratings that he beat WCW, and WCW has officially closed by 2001. But his moment of illness didn't stop there. He has a lot of storylines in which Vince McMahon has made the superstar struggle and fight for his career and many more. But in the end, Vince McMahon is the one who is struggling, because Vince McMahon is the one who was kicked in the behind of the certain superstar that he is feuding with. So, here is my another opinion, part 2. Some people may treat him as a heel or as a bad person, not because of the character, not because of what he is doing on television, but because of his booking. Some people may prefer other products than WWE, such as NJPW, AEW, and many more, in which they are typing on their keyboards. But for me, I'll try to enjoy every inch of wrestling that we have. Even though some people may say, hey, Vince McMahon is not using our favorite superstar. Well, I do believe that sometime his or her time will come. I do believe that maybe Vince McMahon will have some faith on them, and I will enjoy the show despite of my favorite superstar being used. And sometimes I get irritated by this also because you know I love some superstars to be champions, but creative doesn't agree with us, don't they? But as for now, I love every pro wrestling shows that there is to offer, despite of sometimes that we don't agree with their bookings and etc. We love the form of entertainment that we're watching, despite those people who don't agree with us, who don't do things on our own way, who don't do things for us, who they believe that they wanted to do these things on their own accord. But I wanted to also to say that despite of this, I want to thank Vince McMahon for all of his efforts, even by age 70 that he is running a huge multi-millionaire company, even billions of dollars that he is producing each year. I want to say thank you, Vince McMahon, and also, you're the greatest heel of all time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment on below for more videos.